Today is the anniversary of the Paris massacre. 1 year ago today, Sakine Cansız, Fidan Doğan and Leyla Şailemez were brutally murdered in the French capital Paris. Kurdish people defined these three women politicians as the comrades of the sun. Three Kurdish women revolutionaries, co-founder of the Kurdistan Workers' Party Sakine Cansız, the representative of the Kurdistan National Congress KNK in Paris Fidan Doğan, and member of the Kurdish youth movement Leyla Şailemez were massacred in French capital city Paris on 9th of January 2013. Three women, three generations of Kurdish women committed at different levels and in different fields, tirelessly working both to denounce the persecution of Kurds and for a path toward a just and lasting peace through dialogue. Both issues were the target of those who ordered the murder. The hand which pulled the trigger may well have been that of the suspect arrested 2 days after the killings. Ömer Güney was the last who saw the three women alive. He was with them in the office. French investigators accuse him of being the killer. If this indeed were the case, the trial will show. But the case is proceeding very slowly. To date, no hearing has been scheduled as the investigation is not over yet. In an article published in December, the French magazine Express said there has been rapid progress made in the investigation into the murders of three Kurdish women revolutionaries in Paris on 9th of January. It noted that suspicions regarding Ömer Güney have been strengthened by the latest findings, and that this position of a political murder on a background of espionage is gaining credibility. According to the article by Eric Pelletier, there has been rapid progress made in the investigation after the examination of new documents, and new evidence strengthens suspicions regarding the sole suspect, Ömer Güney. The Express article explains that in the police laboratory near Akuli photos that had been deleted from the memory of Güney's Nokia mobile phone had been retrieved, proving that Güney had on the night before the murders entered the Kurdish association in Villiers-le-Bel and photographed the membership information. The article continued. At between 4:30 and 5:30 a.m., he carefully photographed 329 membership forms. He succeeded in entering the premises by using spare keys. According to the magazine, Ömer Güney admitted taking these photographs, but claimed he did it on the orders of the PKK.
Who is Sakine Cansız, Fidan Doğan and Leyla Şailemez? Here is some information on three women revolutionaries who fight for freedom and peace. Sakine Cansız, a co-founder of the PKK, Kurdistan Workers' Party, and one of the three Kurdish activists murdered in Paris last year, was born in the province of Dersim in 1957. Having been active in the student youth movement in Elazığ for long years, Cansız joined the Kurdish revolutionary movement in 1976. Cansız, a leading figure in the struggle against fascist circles in Elazığ, was mainly active in the neighborhoods of Fevzi Çakmak and Yıldız Bağları. Joining political workers in the rounds Dersim in 1978, Cansız became fully involved in the revolutionary movement after that time. And after attending the PKK Congress on 27th of November 1978, she was arrested in Elazığ and sent to prison together with a group of friends. She was subjected to heavy torture in the period of 12th of September military coup in 1980. She was released in 1991. Soon after her release, she continued to take an active part in revolutionary activities in West and South Kurdistan. After many years of struggle on Kurdistan cantons, Cansız went to Europe, where she started to lead the Kurdish women's organizations. She was one of the inspiring and prominent women who made great contribution to the association and organization of Kurds in diaspora. Fidan Doğan, one of the two other Kurdish women killed in Paris last year, was born in Elbistan district of Maraş province on 17th of January 1982. As a daughter of an immigrant family in Europe, she grew up in France. Doğan, who took a strong interest in Kurdistan freedom struggle since her childhood, started to take an active part in revolutionary works in Europe as of 1999. Leyla Şailemez, daughter of an Izidi family from Diyarbakır's Lice district, was born in southern province of Mersin. She spent her childhood here until her family moved to Germany in the 90s. She had been studying at the Department of Architecture for 1 year when she joined the Kurdistan freedom struggle. After 2006, she started to take an active part in many Europe cities, particularly in Berlin, Köln, Hanover, Frankfurt and Swiss city of Basel. After spending 1.5 years in Kurdistan in 2010, she returned to Paris, where she had been conducting work since then.
Thousands took part in marches across Kurdistan, Turkey and Europe in order to mark the first anniversary of the murders of 3 Kurdish activists, Sakine Cansız, Fidan Doğan and Leyla Şailemez. The rally is to remember the 3 women and demand justice for their murders. Here are some footage from Turkey, Kurdistan and Europe.
شهيد شجوانك بالشريم نحن نعمل الشهيد ننسى زي خمام
The West Kurdistan Constituent Assembly for Democratic Autonomy, tasked with preparing the necessary laws for democratic autonomy, has approved the social agreement characterized as a constitution. The Constituent Assembly took place in the Ahmed city and witnessed the decision of management model, social agreements and election law. The meeting closed to the press was attended by 60 out of 67 members of the Assembly, which is made up of 52 parties, civil society organizations, youth and women's movements, and 15 independent individuals. According to the information obtained, the social agreements of Democratic Autonomous Government, which was approved by majority vote, describes Syria as a democratic country and the West Kurdistan territory as 3 cantons affiliated to it. Kurdish, Arabic and Syriac have been designated as official languages of the Jizre canton, while all other languages in the region will also be taught to the people in the region. The Rojava Constitution also ensures the children's rights and the rights of women to equality participate in political, economical, social and cultural life. Some of the points highlighted in the Constitution are as follows. Syria is a democratic, free and independent country with its own will and is ruled with a democratic parliamentary system. The Democratic Autonomous Government is made up of 3 cantons, Jizre, Kobani, Afrin, and is a part of Syrian lands. Kamishlo is capital of the Jizre canton, which is the joint management of Kurds, Assyrians, Armenians, Chechens, Muslims, Christians and Yazidis. Relations between the peoples in the canton and their beliefs is grounded on the brotherhood, common life and solidarity of peoples. Not any people can be considered separate. Kurdish, Arabic and Syriac are the official languages of the Jizre canton, while all other languages in the region are also grounded by the social agreements. The management of cantons and relations between the centres are based on democratic autonomy's principles, and YPG, People's Defence Units, is the official armed force. The social agreement ensures youth's participation in politics and management. The management protects human rights and freedom in line with international conventions and laws. It considers rights and freedoms to be greatest values. Women have the rights to participate and get organized in political, economical, social, cultural and every other areas of life. Any kinds of gender discrimination shall be eliminated. It is prohibited to subject children to work, marriage, psychological and physical torture. Security, stability and free education is the right of each citizen. Primary school education is compulsory. The social agreements ensures employment, housing rights, social and health guarantees, as well as the protection of mothers and babies. In a joint operation with some brigades affiliated to the Syrian opposition, the Kurdish Al-Akrat Front has launched an offensive against the Al-Qaeda-affiliated ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Al-Shaham in the mainly Kurdish city of Aleppo on Tuesday. Following the offensive, which witnessed severe clashes in the neighborhoods of Beidin, Huluk, Bistan Bassa and Maber al-Riz of Aleppo, the Kurdish Front liberated 2 neighborhoods, Beidin and Huluk. Intense clashes are also reported to be taking place between the Syrian opposition and the ISIS in the Bistan Bassa. On the other hand, opposition forces have launched a cannon attack targeting the military bases of the regime forces in the Haidariye neighborhood. Mainly civilians were reportedly killed in the attack, which targeted civilians' residential areas as well. 6 other people, including a child, were also killed in regime forces' artillery attack on the Haidariya neighborhoods. A military headquarters of regime forces in the El Sher neighborhood was targeted by a suicide attack by ISIS. A large number of civilians have reportedly been killed in artillery attack of armed groups affiliated to Syria opposition in the Saif al-Dawel neighborhoods. On the other side, fighting between the Islamic State or Iraq and Syria, ISIS, an al-Qaeda affiliate, and local opposition groups in the northern of Syria is growing. According to reports, at least 247 people have been killed since clashes broke out on Friday. The fighting came just weeks before the Geneva II peace talks scheduled for January 22nd. The fighting began when a group of fighters identifying themselves only as rebels attacked in the ISIS in Jebel Jawiya on Friday, killing 34 ISIS members. ISIS are also reported to have launched an assault on a Kurdish neighborhood in the Takhba district of Raqqa. According to local sources, ISIS fighters killed and kidnapped a number of Kurdish civilians. Following the attacks, fighting broke out between local Kurds and al-Qaeda members. The fighting is reported to be ongoing. According to the Human Rights Observatory, at least 274 people have been killed over the past 5 days of fighting. Of those, 129 were members of the opposition, 99 members of al-Qaeda, and 46 civilians.
Shiel'ın Martyr Academy in Afrin graduation new session consisting of 38 fighter units to protect women YPJ after receiving full military training and intellectual and political. This session continued, which dubbed Martyr Avista session for a month. Trainees received lessons of military, political, intellectual and trained in the use of light and medium weapons. The graduation ceremony was held end of the session in the presence of a number of leaders units, Protect Women YPJ, where Akin Nojan member General Command units, Protect Women in Afrin commanded graduates to complete their session and handed over graduation certificates. After the end of ceremony has been sorted each fighters to battalions stationed in Afrin region.
In the decision to take no further action made by the General Staff Military Prosecutor's Office regarding the Roboski massacre, it is stated that the order for the operation came from the Chief of the General Staff. The implementation of the order is described as normal procedure, that the operation was carried out in the light of information data and what occurred was an error. The General Staff Military Prosecutor's Office decided not to prosecute after an investigation into the killing of 34 Kurdish citizens by Turkish military planes at Roboski. Democratic Society Congress has released a statement in response to military prosecutors' decision not to prosecute in the investigation into the Roboski massacre. DTK emphasized that the non-prosecution decision was a blow against human rights, justice, democracy, brotherhood and equality, and manifested the level of the Turkish judiciary has reached, and the Turkish state mindset and its approach towards the Kurdish people. Meral Danış Beştaş, the deputy co-chair of the BDP Peace and Democracy Party and responsible for law and human rights, spoke to ANF about military prosecutors' decision not to prosecute in the investigation into the Roboski massacre. Beştaş underlined that the military prosecutor's decision not to prosecute, and he's emphasized that there was no fault attached to the Turkish armed forces, was like a new massacre. This meant the people of Roboski have been slaughtered again. Beştaş recalled that the investigation had been carried out in secret for 2 years, adding that we do not believe any investigation was carried out. They just waited for a suitable time, which now exists in Turkey, what with Balyoz and Ergenekon decision, which has deliberately been put on the agenda.
4 lawmakers of the BDP who were recently released from prison took their parliamentary oaths in the parliament. The Peace and Democracy Party BDP Urfa MP İbrahim Ayhan, BDP Mardin MP Gülser Yıldırım, BDP Şırnak MP Selma Irmak and Faysal Sarı Yıldız, as well as BDP-supported one independent MP Kemal Aktaş, have taken their oaths in the parliament. Firstly, MP Yıldırım and lastly MP Aktaş took oaths. All 5 deputies were detained as part of the Kurdish Communities Union KCK trial and were elected as lawmakers in the June 2011 elections. However, they failed to take their oaths at the time because they were being tried under arrest.